Hey everybody, welcome back to Champ and Sons and our new city and City Skylines to Averagetown Town. As we were kind of getting things set up, I'm not going to say for like a massive expansion, but we are growing in population and we are going to need to extend our population areas out. And doing that, I want to kind of be tactful with it because some of these, I got our main 4-lane road in the middle, and a lot of these 2-lane roads, I've got commercial extending off of them, kind of going into the neighborhoods. And so here's that 4-lane one. This is our main thoroughfare, and it's going to connect to these 2-lane roads, which really hit up the neighborhoods, zoning kind of, I guess, segments is the best way I can look at it. But I think today's episode, what we want to focus on is the industry, right? So we are going to look to expand this segment out. There's plenty of farmland here, but I'm not going to put farmland right next to this kind of city. That's going to head more towards the city center and the downtown area. But if we keep the industry going, we're going to have plenty of space to do the metal ore and oil mining. That's what we really want to start to look at today, and so that's why we're going to get some of these kind of boxes bought out. Now I'm buying all these other ones on this other side, like I said, not for farming, but pretty much so we can expand out our city population and essentially extend the neighborhoods. That's kind of what we're going to be looking at doing. And I want to make sure that we have plenty of space to really kind of start getting the mining section with what we need. It's going to take a little bit to start seeing some profits turn around, but we need to have the space for that to happen. So that's kind of what we're going to get done here in this one. Now, I didn't buy it just yet, but that is the overall plan. What I want to do is along this, I guess, riverfront is more or less what it is I'm going to start putting in these mixed-use buildings. I think they look nice, and it kind of will accentuate this area as a whole and really make it, I guess, a little bit more fancy, just thinking of it in that sense. Try to have it, a little bit better looking. That's kind of the borderline for it. So that's what I'm thinking in it. And then we're going to extend out obviously some of our residential out into some of these other areas. We do have our schools built. We got our high school built. But as this population grows, we're eventually going to have to expand that out, right? So now, like I said, I don't want to build on the 4-lane road. So I'm going to try to keep everything backed up to it and keep that be as clear as possible. So you're going to see us putting in a lot of this more lower density residential along here, just because I think it needs to fill that kind of that gap in a little bit, because a part of me instinct-wise does want to put something there. But if my idea of it is to keep this as flowing through the city, eventually we're going to have to expand that out to a 3-lane major roadway. I'm not going to say highway, but at least a 3-laner, and then we'll take it out in through the city center as we develop it. So we did have the high residential need, but everybody knows those apartments can be kind of huge, so I kind of try to limit their space into that one little corner over there, and I don't mind them being over there in that segment. The sizing is just right, I think, for it, so I think we're good there. Now, I need to look at our resources that we have. So water, none of these additions actually create more water. They just make it look better. But we do need to we're going to need more water eventually. It's just the nature of the beast. We're going to have it. Eventually, maybe I'll go to a water reservoir center thing. We might upgrade to that at some point. But I think as we expand out, we'll have to look at all of our utility uses. So not just water, but also electricity. Once again, knowing we're only using 12 megawatts. We got 24 right now hooked up, and each one of these adds on about 4. So that should send us to around 40 megawatts in total production. I'm okay with us placing these, even though we are only consuming 12, but creating 24 at the time. Because I know as we expand, I'm going to forget about it. I'm going to forget about that. So that's just going to be kind of the way it goes from here. All right, so let me look at these resources again. Let's go ahead and get this land bought up. And we're going to go all the way around here so we can give ourselves some more neighborhood action. And yeah. All right, so we're about to jump into a little bit 2x speed, guys. I'm going to let y'all see as we get the mining segment set up and listen to some tunes. And I'll catch back up with y'all here a little later. So be right back, y'all. We're just going to be finishing getting those cargo lines set up. And it's going to take a little bit, I know, for us to actually start shipping some cargo out. But I think this was well needed to be done in our city. So I did like getting that train put in right there. Eventually, I am going to want to connect it up to the original train network. I think that's actually going to be a big help to it if we can get that to connect up. So now I'm going to fill in some of that industrial, just blanket filling in. I've kind of gotten accustomed to using, the pour bucket instead of placing it down just real small and so forth like that. I kind of like how it fills in. It does a pretty good job on its own, a little bit better than what I could do essentially. So I don't mind. All right, we're going to be filling in just some of these final little zones here, and I really think this city is starting to come together, right? I really think population-wise we are growing ecstatically. We started this episode with a little over 3,000. We're already at about 6,500 and growing, give or take. So we had to add in extra schools because our other schools were completely overloaded, which is fine. You expect something like that to kind of happen every now and then, right? So, it's just the way the world works at times. Just checking in on this cargo train. Where are we at? All right, let me follow it some. What do we got working? It's 0.9 out of 1.2. Looks more like it's dropping off to us. I'm not a fan of that. I need to see what it's going to pick up. I kind of like this follow view. I don't know why, I really do. But I kept it so low and just bam. Kind of hid everything from me as we got into our little cargo depot. Here's all these trucks coming in. And they look like they're dropping off, but I guess they're really just picking everything up in grates. Because the train is now completely unloaded. And it's out of there. All right, that's all right. We knew that was going to take some time to come in. We're starting to get a lot of large production out of stuff, like I said, coal, or it's going to take a little while. Oil just flowing like none other, but that's just kind of how it's going to work for us. I do like using the Southwest kind of apartment homes. Those are I think they really do fit well for the area. Size-wise, they're not overbearing. I think they do a really good job of fitting into our current zoning segments that we have. It's not like we're building a Southwest type of neighborhood, but I'm just really liking how they're turning out. Getting some more of the commercial done. We've kind of caught up to our speed here a little bit. And coming into the final minutes of looking at how this city is coming together. We've got our commercial, we've got office spaces, and we're going to fill a lot of this stuff in with residential and expand it out. That's going to be the biggest thing, is we are going to be expanding this kind of stuff out here. So eventually what looks like it's at the edge, it's going to be basically squeezed right down into the middle. I might get a little bit better with building some, I guess, more office park kind of setups, but we'll kind of see how it goes from here. I do want to keep a watch on the education, on the schools being overflowing and stuff like that. So we are going to be careful with that. So we are in a boom town setup right now. We're going to be looking to really start to get expansion going in the next episode. We're going to have to expand out. I want to get some farming done now that we've got the oil going, and we've got ore, we've got forestry. And we'll start adding in a bunch of this stuff. We're going to see, I think, expansion happen like crazy. We have gotten buses going. So we've got a lot of expansion permits coming. We've got development points coming. We've got high density. It's actually going to be pretty fun as we continue to kind of watch this city grow and kind of see where we take it from here. I like how we got the school kind of areas built in. And we're going to start doing some more detailing in some of these areas, right? We're going to have to fix this road, expand that out. We're going to end up having to do some more detailing. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing how this portion kind of develops. it's going to definitely be very interesting for me. I would say the least, and I hope y'all are going to find it just as interesting and entertaining to see where we can take this city. Guys, if y'all have any ideas for things you want to see in the city, put it down in the comments and definitely let me know. And we'll see what we can do to kind of get incorporated. I already do have episode 3, I think, recorded. So definitely we'll see what we can do. I'm always willing to go back and destroy things if we have to. So no worries there. All right, guys, enjoy some of these cinematic shots. I'm going to hop off from here. I hope y'all have a great day. Thank y'all for joining. Remember to hit that subscribe button. And I will see y'all in the next episode, everybody. So as always, stay safe. And, well, y'all know how it goes from here, right? Later, y'all.